On this episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups, I'm going to show you how to change headlights on a round nose classic Mini. Well folks, welcome back to the channel. As I said, we're going to be fitting new headlights to this 1968 Morris Mini-Matic. And of course, we are using the STEDI 7-inch chrome homage headlights. Now, you're probably wondering, haven't you already fitted these before? Well, yes I have. Mine are black, these are chrome. This is chrome, this is going to look awesome on this car. And it's also going to enable it to have better driving ability at night. Essentially, you drive this thing at night, you might as well use a candle, close one eye, and just hope for the best, because it is absolutely shocking. And I'm sure many people out there who know these old sealed beam types are pretty horrendous. End of story. You're gonna need minimum tools for this. So dig deep, look in through your toolbox, go get yourself a loan and get yourself a screwdriver. Primarily, Phillips head. Pretty straightforward. Underneath this chrome ring, there is a Phillips head screw. You're going to release that. This one here seems to be a little bit stuck, so we just have to give it a little bit of persuasion to be able to remove it. I would say it's probably the wrong screw for the car. Indeed it is. Now the chrome ring will just pull directly off and lift up on the top. Now we do have new chrome rings and we will jump into that shortly. Now these are pretty old and tarnished. The new chrome ring just looks a little bit better and just helps to present the vehicle that little bit much more and help it look a little bit more the part of a classic Mini, as well as something that looks nice and clean. So straight at the bin with that. All right, so like we've spoken before, there are two headlight adjustment bolts. The top one makes it go up and down with the beam. The outer one goes in and out. So depending where you want it to be, which side of the road you're on, and where you want to line up, it's important to make sure you get these adjusted. So these are pretty horrendous, and it is worthwhile making sure that the adjustment is correct. Before we go any further, check out the video I did when I was driving with this at night. So as you just saw, that thing was absolutely shocking, and I cannot believe I drove it back from up the mountains, back home for about half an hour in the dark. Even on high beam, it was horrendous. What you saw there was high beam. So if you thought that was bad, wait till you've seen it on low beam. Also, the headlight aim is absolutely shocking on this, so we're gonna do a quick headlight adjustment after, which I'll show you guys how to do. All right, so generally these have a fitment screw that is going to enable it to attach the body of the headlight to the actual ring. This one, for some ungodly reason, doesn't. And this has actually been fitted incorrectly. I'll grab the camera and I'll show you guys. All right, so you got your headlight adjustment screw just there. As you can see, it has been fitted in the wrong position. It's got a little groove directly behind here, which is where it's supposed to sit. That way it enables it to move in and out when you adjust it. This will only be able to push it in and not be able to come back out because there's nothing behind there retaining it. So we just need to pull it off that clip. So we should be able to just wiggle that out, I think. It's not going to matter too much if we do any sort of damage to it, only because we've got new ones, but also we just want to be careful. We don't want to be sending it because, you know, this isn't my car. We can't just be breaking stuff. This has the old clip on the back of the headlight. The old spring. These can be a bit tedious to get off. See if I can just do it using a Phillips head. May be able to do it. Oh, right. That was a bit of a pain. So we just undo the headlight harness and take that out, because they are just an absolute painus in the anus. Now we do have new rubbers as well. The rubber that sits behind here has perished, so we're just going to quickly change that. There are just 4 screws. Now I actually lied. I didn't realise that these had both Phillips and flat blades. screw heads, should I say. So you're just going to go around and work them all out. If you want to replace these at the same time, it would be certainly advised, because these are pretty crappy and dodgy. And if you just want to make it look that little bit better, to know that next time you remove it, it's going to be a little bit easier, definitely do it now. All right, so the headlight bucket will pull out, and that seal will pull out as well. All right, just detach it from there. I'm just going to slip it over the top, I think. Ta-da, easy. All right, I'll rest it down there for a second. I'm just going to get the new seal and throw that in the bin. Well, here's a seal I prepared earlier. We're just going to do the exact same thing in the reverse order. As you saw, these little tabs that were sticking out the back of the seal do need to line up with these holes. Now, sometimes you'll find that these will only go one way, so make sure that you line them up, as there are only two holes that are used, should I say. So that one there, that one there. Make sure that any of the screw mounting holes line up as well. So that's looking pretty good. All right. Good way to remember where the screw holes go are where the adjustment screws are here as well. So I do have some new screws. I'm not sure if they're going to work. They should. Looks to be about the same sort of thread. Yep, fabulous. Just make it look that little bit better, that little bit more presentable. You can actually replace the plastic trim clips that hold these screws in. They are available from Minisport. Right, once that's done, we're then going to be grabbing the new headlights. Grab it out of the box. Now these are ADR compliant as well, meaning they comply with the Australian design rule. So some stuff you might add to your vehicle, you might find it won't comply, which then means it's illegal. So pretty straightforward. These also have a built-in park light by the look of it. So you could run a wire directly up from the indicator and park light all up through here, and that'll run just the park light. Now, before we go any further, need to make sure that we mount the chrome ring that mounts around here to it, so that way we can ensure that it secures it properly. So this is pretty simple. There are 3 screws that hold it on. There's one at the 12 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and probably about 4 o'clock. Once you've undone that, that ring will come off. You can then mount the new light inside here, reattach it, and that way that can attach it to the headlight bucket. This is going to look $1,000,000 once it's back in. So line it up there, grab your screws, and you can just reattach it. Remember, these will only go in one way as well. Oh, sorry, they'll probably go in 3 different ways. Just make sure that if all the holes are of equal distance apart, it can pretty much go anywhere. You just want to make sure that you can renew the screws if possible. I don't have screws this small, so I'm not going to be able to replace them, but this is pretty much just a locking ring that holds it to this smaller bucket, whereas on my car it attached directly to the bucket itself. Now, it is worthwhile noting that the buckets are available from Minisport. You can buy plastic or you can buy metal. If you want to stay OG, go with the metal. If you want to try something new, you're probably better off going with the plastic. Plastic is obviously lighter, but you know, it's not like we're talking about hundreds of grams. We're probably only talking about 10 or 15 grams, I guess. So now it's mounted, let's throw it in the car and see what it looks like. Now, this is when it becomes rather fun, and you probably have a special tool, or you get someone to help you, or you just be MacGyver and work out how to do it. And by how to do it, I mean put the spring on the back of the headlight bucket. Okay, with a pair of long nose pliers, that wasn't actually as hard as I thought. All right, so once it's in with the spring, you can then realign these clips out under here. Sometimes they take a little bit of caressing. This is what holds the headlight. And you probably find as well, yeah, these are worn, so they're going to have a little bit of play in them. So it's going to move around a little bit. I'll see what the customer wants to do. Worst case scenario is we can put it on, see what it does, and if it's still moving around too much, we'll just get new headlight buckets. But at this stage, let's just roll with it like this. As you can tell, I'm a clubman type of guy. That's why I'm probably struggling more than those other people out there who do this all the time on a round nose. I guess this is good practice for when we do the Black Mosquito. All right, grab the new screw out of the bag. It does come with a little fiber washer or a little rubber one by the look of it. Make sure to line up the locking ring with where it needs to be at the bottom. And just gently tighten the screw. It doesn't need to be mega tight, just enough to hold it. All right, here we go. Park lights, low beam, high beam, low beam, high beam. That looks much better than what it did. And we actually chose to stick with the yellow globes as well. So that way it looks a little bit more period correct, but also doesn't detract from the overall beauty of the vehicle. Now, before you go any further, make sure you do your headlight alignment before putting the locking ring on, because unlike the Clubman, you have to take the locking ring off the outside to adjust the headlights. The awkward moment when you go to do the left-hand side, realize that all you have to do is take off the locking ring on the outside, pull the headlight out, remove the plug from the back of the headlight, and then the headlight will come out easier. What a dingus. Now, before we go outside and test it, let's talk about the headlight adjustment. As I said, you do have one at the top and one at the side. The one at the top raises and lowers the beam. The one on the outside brings the beam inwards or outwards, depending what you want to do. All I'm going to do here is set it up against the inside of the garage door. I'm then going to raise it so it's in line with the second bar, and then we can pretty much guarantee it's going to be A, higher than what it was, and B, much better for driving. So if you find that you're searching for possums in the trees or looking out for red bellies on the road, chances are you probably need your headlights aligned. So all I'm going to do here, all we do here is just turn the lights on. As you can see, the right hand side is higher than the left. We're just going to grab the screwdriver, wind it in at the top, and then bring the beam up. All right, so now we've done low beam, let's check high beam. Fabulous. Really happy with that. Well, how good does that look? Just brings out the absolute best in this vehicle, and a set of headlights really changes the dynamic of the vehicle. Not only that, but it also changes how well you can drive at night. Last thing you want to be doing is, as I said, looking up to the sky or looking down at the ground, not being able to see. And with a good quality set of headlights like the STEDI Homage 7-inch chrome ones, they are the best ones, in my personal opinion, to suit a classic Mini. I bought these from APC. You can check them out, the link in the description above, and make sure that you tell them that Tomo sent you. Let's head out for a drive. All right, so welcome back. We're on a road test. I got Apprentice Kev behind the camera. And as you can see, the way this car lights up the road is just completely transformed this vehicle. I can actually see where I'm going now, and if there weren't cars ahead of me, I'd turn my high beams on. I've done a fairly decent job adjusting the headlights. I'm pretty happy with it. I think any higher and it would be probably too far ahead. But overall, the light this thing is giving out now is much better than what it was before, especially with the old sealed beams. She's still a little bit cold, but she still gets up in boogies quite well, so we got it tuned to the right specs of the engine. Because this thing is absolutely bog stock, it made it a bit easier for him to tune it. But overall, I think the customer's going to be super happy with this. And as you can see with the little video going below, how different it is compared to what we're driving at the moment. It is literally chalk and cheese. And I'm super, super pleased it turned out the way it did. We actually had two options with the headlights. We were just going to go with a standard headlight with a LED conversion, or for the extra like $100, we were going to go with the STEDI Homage ones, which is the ones that we did, and I think that was a really good decision because it keeps it somewhat period correct, fits in with the vehicle, and keeps the chrome alive as well. And as you saw, we did new chrome rings around there, so it just finishes it off. Super pleased with how this is. And now, time to head back to the shed. We've got a new build coming up, whilst the Black Mosquito is waiting on parts, which it always seems to be, because every single time we touch it, we're always finding new things we need to replace. That's what happens when you build a car. So, thanks for coming along for the journey. Hope you liked the video. And this is what it's like driving a vehicle at night with STEDI Homage 7-inch headlights. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of Tomo's Tune Ups.